Now what we're going to do is create the material that we're going to put on the screen or the face of this character. And this is actually quite important for the character because he's quite a simple character. The only way we can give him any kind of personality or emotion is going to be through what we put on there. And it's just going to be cute eyes for now, but we could do more with this going forward. So the first thing we need to do is make sure that we've got the textures. So I've got here head texture and I've got the Photoshop file that I used to create it as well. What I'm going to do is put those in the appropriate folder. So I'm just going to cut where they are. This is the project folder that I'm sharing with you. So you'll be able to find these in the source images folder. So there you go. We've got the front side top image that we used right at the beginning. And now I'm going to paste into here the head texture. And yep, I know that that's moved. So there we go. Head texture. These are the eyes that we're going to use. So make sure that you get the textures from the link in the description or that you create your own so that you're ready for this next step. Back into Maya then. And we're going to go back into our Hypershade. Here it is. Clear the workspace. And in fact, before we create the material, we're going to UV map the head. So let's go into face mode. And really all we need to do is select all the faces that make up the screen. And the easiest way to do that is just select the ones in the middle and then press shift and full stop to do a greater than selection. And you can see that that then goes exactly where you need it to be. So I'm just going to see how far. Yes, I'm just going to bring that back once with a less than. So that's pretty much all the faces that make up the face or the screen. Okay, so now I'm going to do a UV projection. So just quickly, I'm going to go into my UV editing workspace, and that's because it'll show me this here. And I need to just make sure that I've got these faces that just take up the 0 to 1 space. So we're going to go to UV and we're going to do a planar projection. And it looks like it's going to be on the Z axis because that's the axis that looks like it's cutting through the face. So we'll click on project. And there we go. That's now created a projection of the face. If we only select those faces, that'll be perfect. So that's the head UV mapped. That was nice and straightforward. Back into object mode. And then I'm going to go back to my modeling standard view. And this brings my Hypershade back for me, which is what I wanted. So what we'll do now is create a new Stingray PBS. We'll call this M_screen. Rename that. And this time we need to use a color map. And that's going to be our texture. So we'll get that first of all. So there's color map. We need to scroll down. Here's where we can apply the texture. So we'll click on this little checker box here. This takes us through to file 4 is what it's called here. And I can click on this folder next to image name and choose head texture.png. There it is. Open. And that creates the material. And now what I want to do is just make sure that I'm happy with the other properties for it. So let's just change this from sphere to plane. Okay, so then what we'll do is click back on here. And I'm just going to have a look at the roughness of this. I don't want it to be very rough. I want it to look kind of like it's got a shiny glass screen. So we'll go for something like that. And we're going to leave it here for now, but I think we will come back to this material in a second. So what we need to do now is go back into face mode. And luckily for me, that face selection's still there. But if it's not, remember you can just get the 1, 2, 3, 4 faces that make up the middle and then do a shift and full stop to get a greater than selection to make sure you get all of those. And then with our M_screen material, we can right click and assign material to selection. And that will give him his fabulous little face. Look at that guy go. So we'll just minimize the Hypershade for a sec, have a look at him in all his glory. Not bad. And this is where we're going to get to this final change. So we want this to look like a screen, but the eyes are quite dim and screens emit their own light. So we want our screen material to mimic that same effect. So we'll go back into our Hypershade then. Make sure that we've got our M_screen selected. And we're also going to use an emissive map. So we'll tick that box there. We're going to connect the same texture to that emissive map. So head texture. And already this looks a little bit glowier. We'll click back on here again. And then what we're going to look for is emissive intensity. And now we can use this slider, and you should be able to see that happening. As we make the slider go up, it makes the eyes look brighter, and it goes to 1, but I think you can type higher numbers in there. So there you go. If you want to make it 10, they can seem really bright. I think that's overkill. Let's go for something like 2. So go between 0 and 2. Yeah, and 2 looks quite nice. So again, this is just for preview purposes, really. We're going to rebuild this material when we get to Unreal Engine. But for now, we want to know how he's going to look as we're animating him. So this gives us a good impression of that. Okay, so we can close the Hypershade now. So this is our little chap with his materials on. We've completed another chapter. Well done, you. So moving forward, in the next chapter and the next few steps, we're going to be rigging this guy, which means giving him a skeleton and then assigning the different parts of the mesh to the skeleton, making sure that that skeleton has controllers and that he's ready to animate. So I look forward to seeing you for more fun. I'm able to continue making these videos thanks to the ongoing support of my amazing Patreon community. If you'd also like to support Game Dev Academy via Patreon, then check out the link in the description below. Thank you.